You know that feeling at the end of a party, when you're the last one there and it hits you that everyone else has paired off and disappeared? That moment, you're standing there with a lukewarm drink, surrounded by the debris of the night, realizing you were left behind without a single word. That precise sensation is what many men experience constantly within their own relationships, feeling deserted even while their partner is physically beside them. Today, I'm handing you the conversational keys that can shatter this pattern in an instant. But understand this, these phrases carry such force, such a devastating impact on a woman's sense of self, that many of you will be too afraid to deploy them. And that very fear is what will keep you trapped in the same cycle of misery. I've witnessed it over and over. A man enters a relationship standing proud, self-assured, a complete individual. Half a year in, he's seeking approval to see his own friends. A year later, he's saying sorry for simply existing. After 2 years, the person he was before meeting her is just a ghost. She has systematically reprogrammed him. And the most tragic part is he mistakes this for love. He believes this constant anxiety, this relentless pursuit of her validation, this smothering control, he thinks this is the normal blueprint for a relationship. But let me clarify what is truly occurring. Each time she tests you and you come up short, each time she applies pressure and you yield, each time she makes a threat and you plead, you aren't preserving the relationship, you are destroying it. You are systematically eroding her attraction with every feeble reaction. Buried deep in her biology, far beneath any modern beliefs or advice, is a fundamental need for you to be her rock. And every time you demonstrate you are not, a fragment of her respect for you dies. The authority I'm referring to isn't just an idea, it's visible in her posture, her tone, her gaze, or more tellingly, her lack of one, as if you're invisible, like a piece of furniture that occasionally provides funds and affirmation. And as that authority of hers expands, you diminish, until you are merely a subject in her domain, and she is repulsed by the shell you have allowed yourself to become. You may have heard of the test paradox. Women test men to gauge their strength, but the continuous process of testing itself wears most men down over time. It's a slow corrosion. Every challenge chips away at your resolve until nothing remains but an empty vessel that automatically agrees to everything. And here is the cruel twist. She resents you for it. She despises your weakness, even as her tests created it. She hates that you fail, even though she engineered the failure. She is disgusted by what you've become, even though she was the architect. You know how after waiting in a long, tedious line for hours, you just accept the frustration as part of the experience? That's what occurs in relationships. Men become so acclimated to the endless testing, the emotional games, the turmoil, that they assume it's standard. They believe every other guy endures the same treatment. They observe other couples and imagine that behind closed doors, every man is facing identical trials. Incorrect. Profoundly mistaken. Some men have cracked the code. Some men have learned the phrases that stop this dynamic in its tracks. So, let's examine the tools. The first statement that fundamentally dismantles a woman's ego, and listen closely, because this one strikes at the core, is informing her that she is common, not with malice, not in anger, but as a simple observation. You know, when we first met, I believed you were exceptional, one of a kind. But I see now, you're just like all the rest. The same fears, the same tactics, the same performance. You're entirely predictable. This shatters women because every woman is convinced she is the outlier. She's not like other women. She's distinctive, singular, the special one who will be different in your story. When you calmly reveal that she's just another performer in the same tired production, reading from a universal script, something core to her identity fractures. I recall a scene outside a cafe. A couple was fighting. She was lecturing him about how he failed to see her unique qualities, how he didn't recognize how extraordinary she was. And this man, utterly composed, just replied, "Extraordinary? You're following the same pattern as my previous partner." The exact same lines. It's as if you all share the same handbook. She fell silent. Not just quiet, but utterly mute. Her mind simply could not compute. For the first time, Someone had held up a reflection showing her she wasn't the lead character. She was just part of the background cast. The second tool, potentially even more potent, is displaying total apathy toward her departure. She threatens to walk out. You hold the door open. She says she needs space. You reply, "Take whatever time you require. I have my own things to do anyway." She mentions an ex is messaging her. You say, "That's fine. Perhaps you two can reconnect." You see, every threat she makes is predicated on one core assumption, that you are afraid to lose her. The instant you demonstrate not just acceptance, but a preference for her exit, her entire worldview collapses. It's as if she's been betting everything on a winning hand, only to discover you weren't even playing the same game. This occurred with a man whose partner tried the classic, "I think we should see other people." You know what this usually means, right? She wants you to fight for her, to prove your devotion, to beg her to stay. Instead, he said, "I think that's an excellent idea. In fact, there's someone I've been meaning to contact. Thank you for making this straightforward." The expression on her face was priceless. She literally stumbled over her words, trying to backtrack, suddenly explaining that she didn't really mean it, that it was just a test to see if he still cared. The third element that fractures a woman's self-image targets her sexual confidence. Every woman believes her sexuality is her ultimate power. It's her final resort, her ultimate leverage, the quality that makes her indispensable to you. When you casually, almost dismissively, suggest that sexually she is merely average, perhaps even unremarkable, the psychological effect is catastrophic. You don't say this crudely or to inflict pain. You state it as a simple, factual observation. To be honest, the physical side of our relationship has always been just acceptable. I've experienced far more intense connections with others. But that's alright. Not everyone can be remarkable in that department. Then you carry on with your activity as if you'd merely commented on the forecast. Watch what unfolds. She won't respond immediately. She will go quiet, processing the information. Because you have just taken her most powerful weapon and declared it a prop. Unlike other criticisms, she can deflect. This one lingers because, at a deep level, every woman harbors a fear that she might be ordinary in that arena. But here is where most men are. They think these are attacks. They are not. They are antidotes. They are the remedy for a relationship poisoned by control and game playing. You don't use medicine when you're healthy. You don't use these tools when the relationship is balanced. You use them when she has been using manipulation, threats, and emotional pressure to control you. There's another layer people seldom discuss: the comparison trap. Women often measure their relationships against others. They see a friend's partner giving lavish gifts, and suddenly, you're not attentive enough. They see a picture-perfect couple online, and suddenly, your life together seems dull. But what truly unravels them is when you reverse the comparison. You know, Mark's partner never complains when he goes out with the guys. Emma never threatens to end things when she's upset. Maybe I chose the wrong kind of partner. Watch how swiftly she abandons comparisons when they no longer work in her favor. Let me explain the agreement technique, as this one completely short-circuits the usual dynamic. She makes a statement designed to provoke a defensive reaction. "Maybe I should find someone who truly values me." The weak man's response: "No, please. I do value you. Don't go." The strong man's response: "You're absolutely correct. You deserve someone who makes you happy. And it's clear that person isn't me. I'll even help you get your things together." She says, "You're not a real man." You agree. You're right. A real man wouldn't put up with this treatment. Thank you for pointing that out. She claims the spark is gone. You agree. I've been feeling the same. We should probably stop wasting each other's time. The agreement method works because women's provocations are rarely literal statements. They are tests disguised as facts. When you agree instead of defending, you dismantle the entire framework of the test. It's like someone swinging at you, expecting a block, but you step aside and let them stumble from their own force. There's another powerful tactic: demonstrating that you are more content without her. When she leaves, expecting you to crumble, you instead flourish. You don't chase. You don't call. You don't send long messages about how empty you feel. Instead, you live. and you live better. You suddenly engage in all the activities she labeled immature. You see the friends she called a bad influence. You pursue the hobbies she deemed a waste of time. She expected her absence to be your punishment. Instead, it becomes your liberation. She thought she was the center of your universe, but she realizes she was just an obstacle blocking your light. This induces a psychological crisis. Her entire self-worth was constructed on being necessary for your happiness, and you have just proven she was actually an impediment to it. You must grasp a fundamental truth. Women are perpetually probing for your boundaries. Where are your limits? What can they control? It's not always a conscious strategy. It's like water seeking its own level. And if you have no boundaries, if you offer unlimited control, the water will flood everything and ruin it all. Every man believes his circumstance is special. You don't understand. My situation is different. It is not. Your partner is not an exception. Your relationship is not uniquely complex. You are simply another man being worn down by the same ancient patterns. The only variable is whether you choose to awaken or remain asleep. The most powerful stance in any relationship is not about who loves more. It's about who needs less. When you genuinely do not require her approval, her validation, or her presence to feel whole, that is when you become irreplaceable. Because everyone else she's known needed something from her. You are the first who doesn't. The words women fear hearing are actually the words they need to hear. A woman with an unchecked ego, with control so absolute she has nothing left to challenge, is a miserable woman. When you refuse to play the game, when you stand your ground and reclaim your spine, you aren't just rescuing yourself, you're offering her a chance to escape the monster that absolute power creates. But most men will not act. They will hear this, they will nod in agreement, and then they will return to their routine of compliance and quiet desperation. Because it is easier, because it is familiar, because they are more terrified of confrontation than they are of losing themselves. Using these words, applying these strategies, is not about being cruel. It's about being authentic. It's about finally telling the truth in a dynamic built on manipulation. When you state she isn't singular, you're being honest she isn't. When you show you don't fear her loss, you're being honest. Why fear losing something that causes you pain? These feared words are not instruments of destruction. They are tools for construction. They are the foundation for either rebuilding your current relationship on a footing of mutual respect, or for constructing a new life without someone who doesn't value you. The decision is yours. You can continue living in apprehension, making yourself smaller to accommodate her expanding ego. Or you can speak the words she fears but needs to hear. You can become the man she is testing you to be, rather than the one who fails every time. I will leave you with this final thought. A woman's deepest fear is not that you will leave her. It's that you will stay, but become emotionally absent. That you will be present in body, but gone in spirit. That you will look at her and feel absolute indifference. Because that is the moment she understands her power over you has vanished completely. The red button is before you. Push it, and tomorrow you awaken as a man who speaks his truth, regardless of the consequence. Or don't push it, and remain a supporting actor in her solo performance, forgetting you were ever meant to be the protagonist of your own story. Use these words with wisdom. Use them sparingly. But when the moment arrives, when the manipulation has crossed the line, when your self-respect is hanging by a thread, use them without doubt, without regret, and without weakness.